For more than a year, ATHEER IBRAHIM has been coming to protest in central Baghdad to demand better services, political reform and an end to what he says has been decades of government corruption and mismanagement. But he's here today because, like many Iraqis, he is shocked and angry about the government's recent devaluation of the Iraqi dinar against the dollar by more than 20%.
We are stunned by the government's action. I will effectively lose almost a quarter of my salary because I'm paid in dinars. The finance minister says it won't affect us. How will it not?
The government said it had to devalue Iraq's currency because of a collapse in the oil prices brought on by a slump in global energy demands due to the coronavirus pandemic. This devaluation is the biggest since the fall of Saddam Hussein in 2003, and experts are saying it means the already abysmal economic situation for millions of Iraqis could get even worse.
This is Baghdad's usually bustling wholesale market, but it's been very quiet since the devaluation of the dinar. The collapse in Iraq's industrial and food-producing sectors in recent decades means most food and domestic products are imported from neighbouring countries, especially Turkey and Iran.
I bought goods at the old dollar price and now I have to sell at the devalued price, so I have to put my prices up or I'll lose a lot of money. It hits everyday people the hardest and there are no jobs because we don't have economists or thinkers in charge.
This means shopkeepers have had no choice but to suddenly put their prices up too.
I still haven't received my government pension, and even when I do, it will be worth much less. All the prices have suddenly increased. Of course, it is affecting us terribly.
Even before the currency devaluation, the World Bank predicted a sharp rise in poverty in Iraq. Almost 90% of Iraqi government revenue comes from oil, but plummeting prices have caused a cash crisis. Iraq's public sector has trebled in size to more than 4 million employees since 2003. Delays in payment of government salaries and the lack of private sector jobs have fueled the protests. Hundreds of people have been killed in the crackdown. No one has been called to account for the deaths.
It is a disaster. It's a disaster for the middle class, the lower class, but not the top class, obviously. But the main reason is corruption. Corruption is the one, because there are other oil-producing countries that are not affected as Iraq is. Of course, Iraq sells oil in dollars, so they don't get affected, but the people are getting their salaries in dinar. And so instead of ripping off the budget, they're ripping off the employees themselves.
And that means more financial hardship for Iraqis and potentially more civil and political unrest. Stratford, Al Jazeera, Baghdad.